No, no. Hi everyone, how are you? Hey, make sure that the Wi-Fi is on. I didn't change it over. This morning, do you have to change it?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Sorry.
If you did not catch it already, we were live here this morning on the Dixie Belle Paint page. Me and the other 8 brand ambassadors for Dixie Belle Paint. It was a riot, you guys. We had a blast painting together. So I don't want to brag, but my piece is making a guest appearance right here. So we spun a wheel, a random wheel that we chose everyone chose our most favorite and our least favorite color. For some reason, all the least favorite colors got drawn, and we had to paint with them this morning. So this is what I've come up with. I'm going to work on this a little bit because I think I can refine it and really make it pop. Really make it pop. We have to stay in the same color range, but there's a couple changes I'm going to make. But other than that, I'm going to finish this piece like this, and you will love it. You will love it, I promise. So anyway, you guys, my name is Brandy. I am with Brushed by Brandy. I paint here with you live on the Dixie Belle Paint page every Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, all at Brushed by Brandy. And tonight, we are all stuck in quarantine, right? So I'm seeing a lot of people tackling their home projects right now, home DIY projects, which is amazing. This is a great time to do it. And one of them is painting tile in your home. So I can't actually paint the actual tile in my home because we just built our home this last year, and Sean says I'm not allowed to paint the tile.
Your life will be short-lived.
Yeah, I don't know. Go figure. So I'm actually we have this box of peel and stick vinyl tile from a project we did a long time ago. So this process that I'm showing you tonight will work for vinyl tile, rollout vinyl if you want to use it just on your bathroom floor. It will work on porcelain, ceramic. The process would be the same no matter what kind of tile you have, but I'm using these handy dandy peel and stick tiles to be my sample.
Sorry, just really quick. I thought this was funny. Sheila posted longest weekend ever.
Yeah. I saw one of my girlfriends posted that this is the longest spring break ever. Like, we're going to be on spring break for about 6 months by the time this is all over.
Yay.
Yeah, yay. So the process I'm going to show you here, whether it's your floor, whether it's a backsplash, this is the process you would use to paint any kind of tile in your home. I also want to say that these peel and stick vinyl tile are really inexpensive, and this is a good option if you're looking for a staging wall in your home, either the wall or the floor. Even my floor is getting damaged now, but I could take these and stick it over the top of my existing floor and make myself a staging floor, and it'll look like tile by the time we're done.
So would this application work on wood floors?
Yeah, you certainly could paint wood. Absolutely. So what I want to start with, and I forgot my sandpaper, of course.
All right, we'll see you later.
I know.
Just going to hang out with, 300 of my closest friends.
There's always something with that girl.
No big deal.
I would never watch her.
Story time.
She's terrible. Oh, what? Were you guys talking about me? Okay, so what I would start with, and this includes your wood floor too, is just taking an abrasive sanding sponge, and I would scuff it a little bit. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to scuff the top of this, and I'm not trying to get down, for example, on a bare wood or even on a tile. I'm not trying to get down to the bare tile. I'm just trying to take that sheen off the top. And it does. It just gives it kind of a matte finish on the top. And that's going to make my tile a little more appropriate to take paint. Just give it a little scuff sanding, something to rough up the top and give it some teeth. So I want to do 2 of these lovely samples. Aren't they lovely with all those browns in them? Sadly, I did pick this up at the store.
Hey, by the way, June earlier, she said that this is the same tile she's got in the laundry.
Oh!
Just saying.
Sorry, I shouldn't say
So have at it.
No, we bought a home years ago now that we redid. And one of the last things we came down to was it had a large pantry. that needed the floor replaced. And so I just put down peel and stick tile. It was we sold the house, and it was just a really quick, easy way to make over the floor on there. So what I'm going to start with is Dixie Belle Slick Stick. And Slick Stick on the container recommends that you put on 2 coats. I also recommend that you put on 2 coats of Slick Stick. And I'll tell you why in a minute. We're going to actually do a scratch test on Slick Stick, so you guys can see what a difference it makes. I'm going to
so everybody says that tile looks like mud puddle. Right out of the gate.
I know, it's the zone I'm in today. I'm just feeling mud puddle today. That was one of our color choices on our live this morning. It was a lot of mud puddle. But if you have mud puddle tile in your house and you want to update it, I'm going to do a black and white scheme today. I think black and white's really classic. But this could be any 2 colors.
Get out the chess set.
Okay, so obviously I'm doing my tile loose. If you were doing this in a room, you could use a roller. I'm using a brush on these because I'm doing individual tiles. But you could certainly get out a roller and just roll this on. I would tape off the edges of your room. And that is 1 coat of Slick Stick that I just did on this one tile. And then I dropped it.
You're just, I don't
That's
like this when it's thrown out.
So I'm going to put this one back here. We'll come back to it in a few minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one too. Slick Stick goes on just like a paint. It's a water-based product, so you'll notice I'm using my good Dixie Belle brushes. They will still clean up with just water like I usually clean my brushes.
I like that you're using my bath towel.
Yes, this is Sean's bath towel. I took it directly from the shower. This is where, so our towels in our house, they go from being bath towels and then they become pool towels. When they get sad, they become pool towels. And after we don't even see them fit for being pool towels, they become a painting rag.
That's the degradation phases.
Yeah, that's the stages, the life cycle of a towel in our house. Okay, so that's 1 coat of Slick Stick. It does recommend 2 coats. So we're going to put these back here, and we will come back to those. But you can see how fast the Slick Stick goes on. So I've got 2 tiles here. One has 2 coats of Slick Stick, and one has 1. And I want to show the difference on camera. So you can see this is the one that has 1 coat of Slick Stick, which is what I just put on. And I can still see some of my tile from underneath. This one is completely opaque. It's completely white over the entire surface. And I told you we were going to do a scratch test on this. I'm just going to use my fingernail, which is actually like nails on a chalkboard for me. It's really hard for me to do. It feels terrible. But I want you to see, you know what? I have a key out here because I found a key in my piece.
Wait a minute. You have a key?
Yeah.
Dang it.
It's a key to the
I changed the locks on the house.
I'm saving it. It was in my piece last night, but I'm saving it just in case it goes to a safe deposit box.
Nice, because you're ever going to find it, by the way.
I'm pretty sure it does not. No, it's just a key that was in my piece last night. But I want to scratch test Slick Stick with you guys. Okay, this is a key. I'm going to use this end because this side's pretty gnarly. It's going to mark it with the metal. Yes. But it's not scratching down to
the material underneath.
To the material underneath. Now this Slick Stick has dried for about a week. But I'm putting some muscle into it. I'm not being gentle because I want you guys to really see. This is vinyl tile, okay, with nothing in between it and the Slick Stick. Now, 1 coat still will not scratch, but I'm going to get much better coverage with 2 coats of my Slick Stick. So it is recommended, and I've heard people doing the scratch test and just recommending that you do the 2 coats as recommended. So when I'm putting on a second coat, you'll notice my first coat, I painted one direction. I'm going to come back. Let me get that one out of the way because that one's already ready. And I'm going to go the other direction, sort of a cross-hatching pattern, because that gives me coverage both vertically and horizontally, and I'm going to get an excellent, really clean coat with no bare spots.
I don't know if you know this, but that's the name of my band, is The Other Direction. Not One Direction.
Not One Direction. You guys are a lame cover band.
Party of one.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I haven't noticed you being booked at all.
Well, it's late night.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's quarantine.
It's in the club. Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah, I'm sure quarantine is affecting your business greatly. Okay, so now I've got 2 coats of Slick Stick on this one.
Could you do this on ceramic tile?
Yes, this would work for whatever material your tile is. ceramic, porcelain, someone said wood, I'm doing vinyl here. Whatever the material is, your process is going to be the same. So 2 coats of slick stick. Here's how you're going to remember it. 2, 2, and 2. Oh. 2, 2, and 2. You want to say it or should I?
It's only 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
We'll be back in 2 and 2.
I know, it's sick, huh? We've been together for 20 plus years.
But I think it was June that threw out there that he was the original host of Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, with her...
Crazy facts, like I think I've got them down, but...
June throwing down some game show trivia.
Knowledge.
Okay, so it's going to be, I said 2, 2, and 2. 2 coats of slick stick, 2 coats paint, 2 coats gator hide.
Here, hold that one-handed. Hold on for a while.
Watch me. I'm gonna juggle them.
Count to 30.
Okay, let me make sure the lids are.
Juggling and balancing are 2 different things, by the way.
Whoa.
I'm just letting you know.
So that's my recommended process. I know that there are ways to skirt things, like for example, doing 1 coat of slick stick, even 1 coat of paint. You'll get surprisingly good coverage over the slick stick because it has such great coverage.
Now I'm going to throw you a curveball. What about on glass?
Yes, you can paint on glass. Slick stick is made for painting on non-porous surfaces. So it's made for, it says directly on the label, it says PVC, glass, Formica. Formica is going to be your IKEA furniture. Sadly, this lovely piece of furniture alongside me.
Oh, sorry, I just see that weird looking avocado thing.
It's distracting. It's a little distracting. But this base right here is not real wood. It's not wood. And same with the face of this. Has some mouldings on it. Where's the face? I don't think any trees were harmed in the making of this table. None. It's got laminate on the top, but it's a cute little table. It's cute. It's decorative. So PVC, glass, Formica, metal, and more. So think of all those things are non-porous surfaces. So whatever your surface is, ceramic, vinyl, stone. If you have natural stone and it's got, you know, old pinks and blues and whatever in it that doesn't go with your decor anymore, this can go over top of it. We scratch tested it with my fingernail and that did not come off. The marks that are on here from the key are marks from the metal, but it did not go through to my vinyl tile. It marked it from the metal rubbing it, but it did not go through. So now I'm going to come back and with the same process as laying on my slick stick, I'm going to paint on my Dixie Belle paint. Now I chose 2 colors that are 2 of their most popular colors, which this is Dixie Belle Drop Cloth. And I think this is actually a good way to show the color of drop cloth, because when you look at it next to a pure white like this, which slick stick is a pure white, you can really see the tints that are in drop cloth. Drop cloth is not a pure white. It's a really warm white, an ivory, a cream almost. But I'm going to choose that as my base. I almost chose like fluff or cotton because I want to do the black and white, but then you wouldn't be able to see it over the slick stick. So at least the drop cloth you can see over the slick stick. If you need a little bit of, if your paint is sticking a little bit, it's going to dry pretty quickly. We've got warmer temperatures coming. You can use a mister bottle and a little bit of water. It's going to have a little bit more bite going over the top of that slick stick. And that just helps it glide a little better. Just kind of lubricates the surface. And then because Dixie Belle is a self-leveling paint, if you give it a reasonably good base to lay on, it will level most of your brush strokes out fairly well.
So let me try to throw another curveball at you. So if you're going to use this on glass, for instance, do you then, how do you coat it? Do you go back over with gator hide? Do you top coat it?
So it depends on how you're going to use it. Now I'm going to recommend gator hide for this process because I'm assuming that we're doing a tile where, say it's your floor, where it's going to get heavy usage. If it's a glass, like on a picture frame or an old window.
Like all you got to do is dust it.
Yeah, and you're going to hang it on your wall. It doesn't need the protection of gator hide. You're not going to use it every day. So it really depends on what the usage of it is going to be. So then, this is 1 coat of drop cloth. And I let it dry, and it's got really good coverage on it. But I would give this 2 coats. I would give this 2 coats, especially on a floor. Especially on a floor. So this is a dry one, and this is the one we just painted. So I'm going to come back and give this a 2nd coat. Now I'm going to scuff sand this just the same as I would in between painting any layers of paint on a furniture piece. I'm just going to take a really light abrasive, and I'm calling it scuff sanding, but it's really just brushing. Doing a single pass over the piece, and then laying off that dust with a tap cloth or a damp rag.
Or an old t-shirt.
Or an old t-shirt. And now I'm going to come back and lay my second coat on. I'm going to give it a little mist of water. And that, again, just lubricates the surface a little bit for that second coat. The paint just lays on that much smoother with a little bit of water underneath it. So at this point, on this tile here, I've got 2 coats of slick stick and 2 coats of paint. That's what I've got on this one tile here. I'm going to go ahead and throw my heat gun on this just to dry our paint on camera.
Are you going to use it or are you going to throw it?
I'm going to throw it onto it. Watch.
Just curious. We're showing a durability test.
Yeah. No, we did our scratch test. I'm going to dry this one too, and we'll do a second coat on that one while that's drying. So this will dry in just a few minutes. These are fairly thin coats that we're doing. It doesn't take long to dry. All in all, I would do this in a process that looked like I would lay on my 2 coats of slick stick, let it dry overnight. Lay on my 2 coats of paint in a day, let it dry overnight, and then 2 coats of gator hide, let it dry overnight. So you could get this done in 3 days. It sounds like a lot, but if you use a roller for it, it's going to be a lot more efficient than brushing like I am here. So one of these I'm drying a first coat, one of these I'm drying a second coat. It has really good coverage with just the 1 coat, but I always do 2 coats of my Dixie Belle. In fact, I need to stop for a minute because I need to do a public service announcement.
Oh man.
To Dixie Belle Paint. I'm not joking, you guys. I want you to pan over. I'm giving you permission to pan over.
Okay.
Okay. There's a dresser, a 9-drawer dresser and 2 nightstands. While I'm doing this, I'll have Sean show you these. 9-drawer dresser and 2 nightstands. I'm not kidding you guys. These were dark wood. I took them from dark wood, and this is sandbar. I got 2 coats of sandbar on all these pieces in 1 16-ounce of paint. This is a 16 ounce. I just did it last night. 16 ounces of paint gave me 2 coats. Okay, go.
Wow, thanks.
No, show them how, I mean, they're big pieces and they're fully covered from 1 16-ounce container of paint. That's my next project. It's just a base. I'm going to lay on some different colors on there, but that's just my base.
And the 2 nightstands. Nice.
But my point there was I transformed that whole set with 2 coats of paint. I did it in 1 day. So if you have a bedroom set, that's a quick transformation. They already look better. All right, all of the sheen is gone from my paint. So I feel I can put another coat on. My second coat of paint just needs to be super thin. What are they laughing at?
Pan to the birdies. What are the birdies?
Oh no. Oh no. Although I will say, hang on and I'll tell you about the birdies. I'm going to put a second coat of paint on here. I had to look at this for a minute because I have a white lid on my water that has vinegar in it. This is just straight water in the spray bottle.
You hope.
Yeah, I have another one
we'll
that
find
also
out in
has
about
a
2
white
seconds.
lid that has vinegar in it, but this one is
Come on,
just
Sheila. I actually want to sleep tonight.
Okay, the birdies you will start getting sneak peeks of tomorrow. We call it the birdie piece because it has would you been birds on it, but you guys are going to start getting sneak peeks tomorrow because there is a new release coming out from Prima next week. So you will start seeing little snippets. Okay, let me talk to you guys about what I'm going to put this in. This is a kit from Redesign with Prima. It is for making tiles, like stepping stones. Stepping stones, that's what it's for. But I'm going to use it here for my floor tiles because it's the right size for me. So it's a concrete paver stencil kit, and it comes with this box, this plastic box, and then you get a stencil like this. These come in, oh, I don't know, there's got to be a dozen different designs of these stencils, and you can put this in the bottom, and then when you pour concrete, a quick setting concrete over the top, it'll make a paver. You pop it out,
Bam.
take the stencil off, and you've got a paver that has this design imprinted in the concrete. So that's this kit that I'm using. It's a concrete paver stencil kit. But it happens to be a 12 by 12 box. And it's going to hold my stencil in place so I don't have to tape it. I'm hoping. You gotta be kidding me. It's not gonna work.
Oh, yeah. Looks like a perfect fit.
I swear
How about we just measure once? Not even twice, just once.
Just one time even. All right.
You had one job.
What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this, you're gonna throw it away. You're gonna throw it away. It's good for nothing.
One job.
One job. Measure once. Mama, the good news is the stencil still works.
The good news is I get to introduce you to a tape measure.
I was gonna put the stencil in there and then use that box to hold it in place. Now I gotta use tape.
Oh,
now I gotta do it the old-fashioned way.
Oh man!
This is how the Amish
all
do
going
it.
in him. Let's get the Amish do it with tape. I don't think they know what tape is.
So I want to hold this stencil in place, and we're gonna stencil a design. This is my tile that has 2 coats of my Dixie Belle drop cloth on it. And I chose this design, so I'm going to lay it roughly in the center. And then I'm going to take this old-fashioned tape.
I mean, I don't mean to throw out ideas, knowledge. But you could, as it was mentioned on here, you could take that box and flip it over.
Throw it in the garbage.
And then use the top of it just like you're doing to the towel. I know, we build rocket ships.
You know what
I know.
hate more than anything? Is a know-it-all. You know that?
Somebody else said that was on here.
Let's try this crazy idea you guys have.
No, it was individual. I'm just conveying messages.
So it makes a good little table. That's about it.
Table?
So
it's 2 inches off the ground.
I know, that's what I mean, a little table. It's more of an Asian-inspired table.
Wow.
Where you get little...
There's nothing that is...
Nothing's off limits. Yeah, you could use this with some low cushions for home decor.
Wow.
So I'm going to show you what I like to do with stencils. I like to use a spray adhesive. So I'm going to pick this up.
Where do you get these stencils again?
So these are from Redesign with Prima, and they've got a whole set, but here's the thing. They might be being discontinued. I don't know who's still got them. If you're a retailer in here and you've still got the old concrete paver tile kits, let me know. And I don't even know if Dixie Belle might even still have them. I just told Sean before I got on I should check. I will check.
That looked sure.
But these are the stencils.
Oh, good. Here, spray it at me.
Hold still. You take your glasses off. I want to get this in your eye.
Safety
you can
first.
get 12 by 12 tile stencils at a variety of places. Let me tell you my favorite websites for stencils. Number 1, Stencil Revolution. Stencil Revolution is one. They've got 12 by 12 tiles. In fact, you can choose your tile size. So it'll give you a design like this. This is Stencil Revolution. And then it'll tell you you can choose a 6 by 6 tile size, an 8 by 8, a 12 by 12. So you can really look at like your bathroom tile, and if you've got little 6 by 6 tiles, you would order the smaller tile. So I like Stencil Revolution for that. Royal Design Studios is another one, and they've got floor tile stencils. They've got massive designs too, to where you could get a huge, if you wanted to lay out like a floral that went over all your tile.
You mean a box that would actually fit your tile?
Well, I mean, you can decide what design you want. I'm not going to come to your house and tell you what you have to put on there, but I'm just using a 12 by 12 because my tile is 12 by 12. Okay, this is Super 77 spray adhesive. Now, I like to use this on my stencils. It will adhere to the back of this, but it will not transfer to my tile. And it's going to make it stick down, and this stops bleed through between the stencil and the tile. So I'm going to spray the back of this pretty generously. And then when I stick it, it turns my tile or my stencil into basically a giant sticker. So now all that will bond, do you see that? It's stuck down onto the tile. It's not going to pull my paint up. It's not that strong of an adhesive, but it closed all those gaps in between my tile and the stencil. So now when I stencil it, it's not going to bleed through underneath the tile. So I'm going to stencil with Caviar, which is Dixie Belle's True Black. And I'm going to use a stencil brush. in theory I had out. I just saw it. Okay, we'll use this one, although it's not my favorite one. We'll use this one. This is just a generic stencil brush. It's got natural bristle brushes, and that's because I'm going to use a dabbing motion. And so those denser bristles that you get from natural bristles is what I want. I want a little bit of resistance there. And you don't want to rub, because if you're rubbing when you're stenciling, it's going to push your paint underneath the edges of your stencil. You just want to dab it. So between the dabbing and then that spray adhesive making a bond between my tile and my stencil, it's going to keep the lines of my stencil much cleaner.
Teresa, this one's for you.
Oh, my spray adhesive. Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive.
Okay, carry on. I don't need you.
I get that at, is that Lowe's? I asked Sean these questions because usually I'll send him to the store. I'll be like, oh, you're going to the hardware store? Grab me some spray adhesive.
Someone's at the door.
Hello. So much for your little desk idea. It just makes a really annoying sound.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's just not very good. You should take it off of there.
Another thing you could do is to mix colors. So I could do what would be really pretty would be a design. In fact, the next one we do, I'll do a multicolored design. You know, with the black and say like a teal. You could get a Spanish tile look by using, you know, reds and cobalt and kernel mustard and some bright colors. You could do this on a concrete patio if you've got a patio outside and you want to add some spice to it. It's a little, you know, old and cracked. Pretty that up a little bit. Concrete is actually a porous surface, so it will take the paint pretty well. You know what? That just reminded me, though, that I have not photographed those planters that we did. Was that last week? They're done, and I forgot. I put them back in front of my house, and I forgot that I need to photograph them. So I have a little spot right here I didn't get very well with spray adhesive. I'm going to press down on it with my fingers just to make sure it's all the way up against my stencil. And then I'm using that same dabbing motion. So a couple tips on cleaning stencils, because this is going to make a really huge mess of my stencil. You'll want to clean it every few uses. So after you do a few tiles, come through and wipe all the excess paint off of your stencil, because it will start getting through under the little tiny edges, and that will carry on to your tile. So just come through, either put it in some water and wipe it down. While the paint is still fresh, it cleans off really easily from the stencil.
Now, what happens if the spray adhesive from the stencil rubs onto the piece? How do you get it off the piece?
It doesn't. It's not going to transfer. It goes onto the stencil. It's not going to transfer to your piece itself.
So if you've already had that happen,
if you spray,
it's probably too much spray.
If you spray, you don't want to spray your piece. You want to spray the stencil. It should not be carrying over to your piece. I'm not sure how that would happen. What would clean spray adhesive off that would not affect your paint? Mineral spirits. I'm thinking, guys, because I don't recommend cleaning painted surfaces with chemicals at all. Obviously, you don't want to use the obvious, you know, things that take stick off, which is like acetone, and that will definitely damage your paint.
A flame.
Yeah, an open flame, your iron. Okay, so I've dabbed over all this, and this is the best part. I'm going to go ahead and take the stencil off. And it's got that little bit of stick to it, but I can just pull it up off of my stencil or off my tile.
You know what I see?
Really cool design.
I see that was much easier with the raised table.
It actually was harder. I got a little twinge in my back, bending over like that. So this will dry, and then this can be coated in Dixie Belle Gator Hide. I've got a few spots where it bled through, and you can either choose to come back and touch those up. Namely over here, where that area that I had to press down with my finger because it didn't have the spray adhesive on it. I'm going to go ahead and dry this. We'll do another one, and then I'm going to try to top coat this while we're on camera tonight.
Ooh, Sheila says you might have sciatica. Yeah, that's true. Something probably happened. You
Did
can't.
I just get a medical diagnosis in a Facebook
You're done.
video? Okay, so that's really pretty on its own. I'm going to set that one aside. We'll come back and do this one. This is pretty well dry, but I'm going to go ahead and hit it with my heat gun, and I'm going to get out another color for this too. I think I'm going to use sea glass. With the caviar, I think sea glass will be really pretty. A black and white and teal design would be... Now I'm getting all... Hang on, I'm going to grab
artsy.
Grab some cotton and some sea glass.
Sounds like a bad accident.
Cotton and
some sea glass. No big deal.
And then I need a couple other stencil brushes because I only got one.
This thing isn't painting itself, you know.
It's not? I thought that's how it worked.
Although the raised table is helping.
No. I think set on the floor it probably would have been much more ergonomically correct.
With your sciatica?
Yeah. Okay, so here's a bunch more stencil brushes. So we can get fancy with our colors now.
Oh yeah.
Then we can see which design. So in between every application, you might get 2 to 3 applications with one spray of your spray adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and do it again. Now, how do you clean the spray adhesive off your stencil? Here's what I do.
You don't give it to me.
Yeah, do not give it to Sean. I'm going to lay this plastic down and I'm going to press that down just to bond it without getting paint all over my hands. I use citrus strip. So all these fluffy, nature-friendly strippers that are out there, like citrus strip, they don't strip lacquer very well, although that's really pretty. Do you see that? That could be
like
pretty
a ghost image?
Yeah, on glass or something, just kind of a ghosted stencil image. But they work good on the stencils. So I will take that, and after I'm done with a rough project like this, if you let it sit in a little bit of citrus strip, it will wipe all that layer of spray adhesive off the back of your stencil. So let's do a multicolored design on here.
What about shower tile?
Okay, so I am really optimistic about the uses for Dixie Belle, but you got to be reasonable about it. And here's what I compare it to. Even products that are made for exposure to water don't stand up well under exposure to water. You know, things like for outdoor use. If you get an outdoor like Thompson's water seal, you've still got to reapply it every few years because it degrades in open conditions like exposure to water, exposure to sunlight. You've got to be reasonable about your expectations. If it's going to be in harsh conditions, you're going to get quicker degradation. It's going to wear quicker than indoor circumstances. So in a shower, it's not going to stand up to water on daily use like that. So I would really assess what the exposure is going to be in that shower.
So are you saying that you shouldn't shower daily if you use it?
That is not my advice whatsoever. That is not what I'm saying. So I'm using sea glass on here. And I'm just going to make some of this design in the sea glass. Sea glass is kind of a really light teal color. This is an old container of paint. I need to add a little bit of water to it. It's thickened up really good. It's more like a paste actually, which actually helps with stenciling because it's got less liquidity to it. So it should stencil really well.
I mean, if you're going to do this, can you at least do it in rhythm?
Sorry, am I bothering you? I don't want to bother you. Okay.
Too late.
And now I'm going to mix it in with some cotton. I think the 3 colors will be pretty together. You know what, let's do our black first, so then my cotton will stay nice and clean and white. Kind of trying to decide what areas do I want to be the black. This is more of a curvy stencil, so it doesn't have really clean definition in between the shapes, but if you had a really geometric stencil, you could keep your lines cleaner. I think I'm going to do these leaves right here in my cotton. Little stencil brushes help when you want to get, so say where I'm getting it close to this next color and I want to keep that line really clean, a little brush would help. This one's a little harder to keep in its specific area. I'm using the same dabbing motion. Not a lot of paint on my brush. You can do, if you want to fade, so if you want to fade the sea glass into the black, you could bring it out a little bit. You can kind of blend your colors in your stencil. That's a really pretty look. I'm just tapping over with the sea glass an area that I already did in the caviar. And it's just going to blend them inside the lines of that stencil. Man, you're so quiet tonight. You didn't bring your A game for sure, huh?
No. Left that luggage in the house.
Sean's exhausted, you guys. We had a building inspection today. Our pool concrete is being poured on Saturday. Do you want to tell them a little bit about the concrete crew?
Oh, man. Me, basically?
Well, so here's what's funny is the guys that are framing our concrete, it's the same company that built our house, and they've done work for us before, but for some reason this crew, guys, is not the same capacity as ones we've had in the past. And a job that literally should have taken maybe 2 days, they've been here for like a week and a half. These guys are, oh man.
So one of those mini hats I get to wear.
Yeah, so Sean's been going back and doing a lot of the work himself after the concrete guys leave. It's just
to keep moving.
Just to keep it moving, so we're still on schedule to pour on Saturday. So I'm just blending out this sea glass onto the caviar a little bit. And now I'm going to come back with my cotton. I'm doing the cotton last so that my white stays nice and clean. I'm going to use another stencil brush.
Time for happy clouds.
Happy clouds.
Whoa! Hello from Hungary.
Ooh, I don't think we've had Hungary before.
Wow.
That's so cool. Someday I'm going to get Dixie Belle to send me over to Europe, do a workshop there. Someday. I'll keep pressuring them.
Catalin says, thanks for being a good teacher. Well, you're welcome.
Thanks for being a teacher anyways. Okay, we're going to pull this off. You guys ready? This is our 3-color design with caviar, cotton, and sea glass. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that's pretty.
That's nice.
Oh, that's nice. That is pretty. I do like the 3 colors. That's a really pretty combo.
That's a trifecta.
Yeah, so this is our pure caviar, and then this is the 3-color combination.
I can't bring my A game if you don't pay attention to this stuff.
I'm not even listening.
I know. Well, it's normal.
Oh, when did you get here?
Oh, look. Hey, Mo.
Okay. How are we on time? I'm going to go ahead and dry these, and we will throw some gator hide on the top. But I like the 3-color combination. It really, like, if I was doing a whole floor in this, the 3 colors would be really pretty together.
Dana, are you sure your notification was 6 minutes late? Or maybe we were just 6 minutes late? I'm just saying.
You'll get to know if you watch me regularly that there's usually
Come on now.
I don't know, we can call it an intermission or it's a time for you to go get a beverage.
Yeah.
I like to allow
We're being thoughtful.
Yeah. Not late. So I'm going to dry this and we'll throw some gator hide over the top of these. I could see really making a staging floor out of this eventually. I think it would be cute.
So now this tile is not tile that we are going to use.
I don't know. See, like
Wait,
I said,
what?
I could see making a staging floor out of this eventually. See, I mean, you can see the floor in my workspace. It's just, it's getting really dirty and dusty. It's got scratch marks and stuff in it. And it was meant to be my workspace, but it would be nice. I might change it out. In fact, I actually have another space I want to use as a second staging wall. And I want to do something different over there. So, no, these are not going to be in my house because my house is brand new. But by all means, if I had an older home, this is absolutely a process I would use. So let's put some Dixie Belle gator hide on here.
Did you just set them on top of each other?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I dried them first.
I'm just checking.
Okay, I'm going to use the end of my brush because you always want to make sure before you apply gator hide that you stir it really well.
You're using the wrong end.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Do I want to tint all my gator hide black? It doesn't take a lot of paint to tint gator hide, by the way.
Not at all.
Not at all. A few drops. And then I'm just going to grab a Dixie Belle mini brush. This is a damp brush.
Wait a minute. Even Jesse says he just got a notification.
Right now?
Huh?
Someone's at the door again. You got a notification right now?
Well, it's like I owe them money if they knock like that. Jeez.
Okay, and then I'm just going to dip my brush in the gator hide. I'm going to hope that this paint is dry enough to not run. I'm going to brush it gently. What makes the colors just kind of come alive. I'm brushing it just very gently because my paint is so new. I don't want it to drag. Hoping I got it dry enough with my... So with gator hide, you want to be sure, number one, that you don't brush over areas that you already brushed. Gator hide starts setting up fairly quickly, so if you go brush back over it, that's how you're going to get brush strokes in it. You want to brush it on and let it do its thing. If you've got flaws in it, come back in your next coat and sand them out. That's going to be really pretty.
So with gator hide, shaken or stirred?
Never shake your gator hide. It will put bubbles into your gator hide. You always want to stir it. You'll get bubbles in your, as you're laying it on, if you've shaken it.
Wow. Notification that came up 3 minutes ago. Oh man, we really got to fix that.
Huh, that's weird. That's not right at all. You need a picture notification.
What the hey?
Yeah, 3 minutes ago is like, what?
3 minutes ago?
No, but it's like 6:42. It's not even a time to make sense,
you anywhere.
You know?
I really can't take you
no,
anywhere.
you really are not allowed to take me anywhere.
Come on.
Okay, so that's a coat of gator hide. I would do 2 coats. I can already see on this one, this is how quickly gator hide starts setting up.
Whoa, no, I did not want to hold that for you.
The edges on this are already starting. I can see them turning from the gloss of the wet finish into a more matte finish. So I can tell it's already starting to dry on there. So the raw paint takes it even faster. That first coat especially is going to set up really quickly. After any coats after this, I've got a little more play time, but gator hide sets up quickly. So that's my process right there. That's what I would do. So if you remember, I'll go over it again. We did, I just set my tile on top of it. We did 2
and 1. No, 2.
Well, we did 1, but I would say do 2 and 2. 2 coats.
Oh yeah, balance it with the lid off. I want to see that. This will always end well.
Tricks. 2 coats of Slick Stick. Slick Stick is a gripping primer. It's going to help it bond to the glossy surface, and your tile's going to be glossy no matter what it is, whether it's vinyl, whether it's wood, whether it's ceramic or porcelain. They're all non-porous glossy surfaces. Put Slick Stick on it first. Get a good base of your Slick Stick down. 2 coats of your paint. Gets the best coverage, gives it durability. 2 coats of paint, and then you can do your stencil if you decide to, and then 2 coats of your gator hide. Gator hide is your protective layer. Okay, so that is my process for doing any kind of tile. So I think these are super cute. Those are our 2 tile here. This one's getting pretty close to being dry. I will lay a second coat of gator hide on once it's dry to the touch. So I would say, oh gosh, probably an hour or 2, and you could come back and do a second coat. So that's where I was saying do your Slick Stick first day, do your 2 coats of paint second day, 2 coats of gator hide the third day, and you could finish a project like this in 3 days.
So I'm just asking for a friend.
You don't have any friends.
But mainly for myself. Can I apply this to the pool?
That is not a recommended usage for gator hide. Not recommended. No,
so maybe.
Here's what I tell people. Gator hide is super durable. It's super durable. You guys will be shocked. So here's a couple just small little tests I've noticed with gator hide. If I lay on satin clear coat, I can go to the sink and I can wash my hands. It comes off even my nail polish pretty easily. If I put gator hide on it, I've got to scrub at it to get it off my nails with a scrubby sponge. So that's one, and that sounds silly, but these are all little tests of durability that you can see in daily use of it. Um, if you go buy a dining table from Ashley Furniture or RC Willey or whatever your local furniture store is, and you leave standing water on it, it's gonna damage your factory finish. If you set your iron or a hot pot of chili on your table, it's gonna damage your finish. There are certain things that even a factory finish cannot stand up to. So to expect gator hide to stand up to some of these things is not a reasonable expectation. Gator hide is really durable, but it has its limitations. So putting it in the pool.
Do they use it on airplanes?
Yeah. Yes, they do. It's used for jet fuel. Putting it on the pool, using it outdoor where it's going to be constantly exposed to elements. It does great. It does great. But I don't want to tell you it's going to last for the next 30 years. That's what my point is. So you've got to be reasonable with your expectations. And that's what I tell my customers. There's still a reason that trivets exist and hot pads and coasters and things like that. You still want to protect your finishes, even with the most durable finish that you can get out there, which is what gator hide is.
What about for my car?
We're going to end this broadcast.
No? I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't really listen.
I don't really
so
yeah. So anyway, I'm going to pop off. You guys, I put my link above in the post. If you guys want to order anything, Dixie Belle is still open and they're still shipping. Send your thoughts out to them. If you have an order in, they're taking a little bit longer to ship, and that's because they are getting inundated with orders. People are doing their home decor projects, and they're also doing social distancing and sanitizing their workspace at the same time.
I just have two quick things.
No.
One,
sir.
For a submarine.
Sir, please end your broadcast.
Or dental fillings. I want to know.
Yes, and yes.
At least once.
Yeah. Gator hide, used by 3 out of 4 dentists.
It said more.
The 3 out of 4 dentists.
Which implied no limits.
Recommend another product. That one guy.
It's not a Trident commercial.
He's the one that uses gator hide.
That's not a Porsche in his parking lot.
You guys check with your local retailers because a lot of them are still shipping products out to you, and they are still doing porch pickups and meeting you guys for deliveries and things like that. So if you need any Dixie Belle products, they are totally available right now. Tackle your home decor projects while you're in quarantine.
I try, but the kids get in the way.
I know, they do. It's been rough. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back here next Thursday to paint with you live, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. My name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy. Thank you guys. Bye. Have a good weekend.